do you know it wasn't me?
Hey, co-host of the show, I just started.
I'm the host.
No, you're a co-host.
I'm the host. With the most.
Hey, I just started the show. Why don't you come and join me? It's cool. The life of a world-famous podcaster. Hey, it's Hank. It's Hank, dude.
Good morning.
Dude. Check. Check.
What is going on?
Me.
Oh, no thanks.
Me.
No thanks.
What do you mean, no thanks?
No thanks. Says, what up? Okay.
What up?
Check. You ready?
No, not yet. I want to get some more people going here.
I need water. Hold on.
Good morning. Welcome to the pre-show. Pre-show, then post-show. What's up? JS for James. Good morning, guys. It would be awesome if you share the show with your friends, with your mama, with your daddy,
No thanks.
with your girlfriend. What? That's how Southern people say it. Judge. Don't judge me. Good morning, Shirley Saraby. Hello. It'd be awesome if you guys share the show with your friends. Don't care if you go to Patreon. Don't care if you do anything else. Share the show. What are you doing? Waiting? Oh yeah, Miss Cool playing Waiting.
I can't sit on the bed?
Good morning, Brittany. It's the very last show.
What? Nice try.
Okay, did you get a new review of the day?
I'm not taking it to
No?
the airport.
Okay.
I didn't. I forgot.
Okay. All right.
Check.
This is inappropriate.
Inappropriate?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Professional. We can be unprofessional because it's a pre-show. Once that red light comes on, boom, baby.
Baby.
Boom, baby.
Okay.
Let's do it. Day 47. Let's go.
Okay. Oh.
If you guys have any questions live on Facebook and Instagram, send them in.
Okay.
All right.
Hello and welcome to the Anatomy of Marriage podcast. I'm your host, Melanie Studley.
Good morning. My name is Seth Studley. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and today is day 47 titled Connecting with Your Partner, Attachment Styles, and Managing Friendships.
If you're new here, welcome. We have over 260 episodes about all things related to marriage and relationships, and we love that you're here with us. And we are live on Instagram and Facebook every single morning at around 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You can join us there. And as always, our show is brought to us by Audible.
Audible Trial. Go to audibletrial.com/anatomy of marriage to get your free audiobook on us. You can get a really expensive audiobook if you want to. It doesn't matter. You just get a free one and you listen to it. And we live on audiobooks. If I'm driving, guess what I'm doing? Reading an audiobook or listening to a podcast. But we do it every day and it's helpful and we want you to be helped as well. Okay, we don't have a review of the day because we couldn't find one.
Well, we forgot, kind of.
Okay, so we're going to jump into questions. And I have not read this one, so it'll be a nice surprise. Hey, Seth and Melanie, I have a pretty cut and dry question that I'm hoping can spark a conversation that can help me and my husband. We are at a great place in our marriage and nothing is wrong, but I do feel like we aren't completely connecting in a way that I would love us to be. Because, life happens. It's nothing against my husband. I know it's a bit easier for him to go through the motions of everyday life, but something in me just craves more. What are some practical ways or even just some vocabulary I can use when approaching him about wanting to connect more? I don't want to sound needy just to make him feel like he's not fulfilling me. I just love him and want to intentionally stop going through the motions to check in with each other more often than he seems to need. With work, 2 kids, sometimes it can feel a bit awkward at the end of the long day just to say, hey, I feel like we haven't connected in a while. Can we do that? Thanks for your help. Yes, you can absolutely do that. And I have a couple of tips for you. And I want to normalize. Like sometimes I feel like I don't connect with the kids. Like, what's everybody doing? We're just doing our own thing. Or sometimes I feel like I don't connect with Melanie. And it is 100% okay if I say, hey, put your phone down. Let's just check in. Let's see what's going on, right? Sometimes it feels awkward and sometimes you don't do anything, but I'm letting my feelings be known and you say the same thing to me often, right? And I think a really good way around that is to be intentional. And we just started marriage meetings last
2 days ago.
Or Sunday.
Sunday.
On the weekend. And it's an intentional thing, and it's going to be on the app, the Get Your Marriage On app, which you have been working so hard on, which is super awesome. And it actually has a template for you to go through to connect, to have a marriage meeting. It's like 30 minutes or 20 minutes, and it has 4 or...
No, it has more than that.
Has 6 sections, maybe. And it is a way to connect. And plan a date. Plan a time every single day, 5 minutes before you lay in bed or whatever. Get on the same schedule, because that stuff only grows. Like, I promise you, if you feel kind of disconnected now, what's up, Brad? Haven't seen you in a while. If you feel disconnected now and you're not doing anything to change that, that is going to be exacerbated.
It's going to compound over time.
When you say life happens, so, okay, don't let life happen. You are life.
Yes. So glad you said that. It's exactly what was in my head.
Really?
Yes.
We are life.
I am Leaf.
Nobody knows that reference, but it's pretty funny. Anyway, yeah, I would say go get your Marriage On app.
No, it's not ready yet.
It's not ready. It'll
come
out on her birthday, July 21st. It's a national holiday. And what do you have to say about it?
Well, I think that what you're addressing is the sort of the practicality side, which I do think that's super important to address. So thank you for bringing that up. But in the app, and you can do marriage meetings. Sorry, Morty. Marriage meetings. Just on your own, like you can Google it and find it. But one of the things that he's saying is that it asks, so it's a weekly thing. You do it once a week. We decided to do Sunday at 8:30 a.m. We sit down together, like by each other, and talk about these things. And in the marriage meeting thing, it says, how do we want to connect this week? So that's what he's referring to, is it gives you like, you have a chance to intentionally think about it when you're not in the moment and you're not feeling like, oh, we're not connecting. It gives you that time to have intentionally thought about it beforehand. Uh-oh, our thing messed up.
Dang it.
Whatever, we can't fuss about it.
Okay.
So it gives you that time to intentionally think about what it is that you want to do when you're going to feel that, that sort of like, I'm bored, I don't know how to connect. But the thing I really, 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 really wanted to say is the foolish thing I've done in the past, or that Seth has done in the past, mostly Seth, is that...
nice try.
We often... this is the analogy that came to my head, so I'm just going to use it. So it's like we, as adults, we put on our shoes, and let's say they're lace-up Vans, so you got to tie them, right? And you sit there and you stare down at your shoes and you go, oh, I just want my shoes to be tied. Everything in life is so good, but my shoes aren't tied. And instead of thinking of a way to tie your shoes, you just get mad at your partner and you go,
you didn't tie my shoes.
You didn't tie my shoes. See? Right? Will you quit waving at people? And so we, instead of saying, how can I tie my shoes right now? We like lob at our partner, my shoes aren't tied, I can't enjoy anything, this is the worst, right? When really we need to be bringing the solution to our partner, not the perceived problem.
Right. So
because the perceived problem is temporary.
So let me say this, so you have to take some action, right? Your shoes aren't going to tie themselves. It's definitely not your partner's responsibility.
Your partner's not going to tickle himself or wrestle himself, go do it for him. Not right now.
And
I'll green juice you.
So... what was I going to say? So, yeah, you have to take ownership. If you're not feeling connected, understand that might just be a feeling. Oh,
it is just a feeling.
Well, it's a feeling. It can be good or bad. Like, if it's always a persistent feeling, like, hold on, let me finish. Then I have to do this. Okay, I'm not feeling connected. Oh, there's a feeling. Blame Melanie. Or be like, we've been super busy today. I maybe haven't been present, so maybe I haven't been inviting to be connecting to. Or maybe, like, you've been like really working all day and ignoring everything. Stop that and let's connect. And I have to say that in an appropriate way. And then you also have to have ears to hear, like, oh, he is right. Okay.
Yeah. But let me suggest this like third option or something. I don't know if we said 3. There's many ways to skin a cat, right? I don't like cats. Just kidding. There's lots of different ways to do the same thing. So I'm going to use this example. Laundry. Laundry's not fun. No one wants to do it. Maybe some people want to do it. I don't particularly care for it. Same with dishes. So I make it fun. You know how you can make it fun? By snapping out of your poopy pants mood. Right. Put on Trolls. Everyone loves Trolls soundtrack. No one hates that. Or put on the Lego Movie 2 soundtrack.
That's right.
But just find a way to bring the joy. You have the power to bring the joy. What are you laughing at?
Because I just thought of an analogy that's inappropriate.
Okay, don't say it. But I really want you to think of it that way. Like you're saying, our life is really good. It sounds like you're in that, what is it? It's like everything is so good that it's boring. right? Ruffle some feathers in a good way. Bring the joy, bring the fun, bring the spark. Put the
rough some feds.
Like, do your laundry and put your husband's clothes on and be goofy. Just do anything. Connect.
Right.
There's a limitless supply of that, but you have to bring the solution, not the problem. And we often go, oh, my shoes aren't tied, I don't know what to do. Instead, bring the solution.
Make it happen.
Make it happen, Kevin.
So, I'm not sure if Instagram went out. Somebody wave or something to make
Someone
sure
let us know that Instagram works.
Okay, here's a short question from one of our friends in the UK. It says, here's my question. It relates to adult attachment disorder episode. Was your behavior from an avoidant or ambivalent perspective? He's referring to me and my comments in the episode. How differently do the two present in AAD? Okay.
So he's talking about adult attachment.
Yes.
Thank you for letting us know it's working. Awesome.
Thanks. So adult attachment disorder, if you haven't heard that episode, it's me going through, and it's like a 30-minute monologue about adult attachment disorder, and it's pretty good. That's been one of our highest rated episodes with the most questions because it is a pervasive thing that we go through, right? And there's a couple different types of AAD. Ambivalent is... Well, why don't I look this up before I like...
Well, let's just break it down for a minute. So adult attachment styles, there are several styles. There's also several like thoughts around, there's different styles among the styles. So if you listen to Therapist Uncensored podcast, that all they talk about is adult attachment and attachment styles. So I would listen to that podcast. But basically it's like family of origin-ish. Like it's where you learn how to attach to people. So if you had a parent who was drunk all the time, you learned to be quiet and reserved because if I make dad mad, he will hit me or he'll hit mom, right? So that trained you to attach to other people in that particular style, right? And it was all like you learned how to fly the plane while you were building it or whatever.
Right.
Like you don't get taught this like in a class, you get taught by actions over time. So that's what adult attachment is. It's how we learn to attach to people when we were little and how that presents as our adult selves. And that applies to me and Seth and how I also relate to me and our kids or my mom or my sister. But she's gross. I don't attach to my sister. Get out of town. Just kidding. I love to razz Carrie. But anyway, so that's what adult attachment is and these styles. So that's what he's asking.
Right. So avoidance, you would learn to avoid situations that bring you close because when you get close, you get hurt and over and over kind of thing, like with the drunk dad or the drunk mom or whatever. Like, oh, I have to be this certain way and, oh, they like me for a minute, but then they're drunk, then they get mad at me. So I learned to not be close because getting close is dangerous. So I'm avoiding, right? And ambivalent, I think ambivalent and there's a dude on a skateboard with no shirt on.
He looks great.
He likes to party.
Got a backpack on. I like it.
And ambivalent, I think ambivalent and avoidant are similar, maybe because I've been avoidant for so long, then I'm just like, I don't care. Like, I don't care about getting close because, like, what's the point, right? Kind of thing.
I think that you were avoidant.
Yes.
Because you actively avoid. Or not so much now, but...
And this also has to do with Enneagram types, too. Like, avoidant attachment. I also like to avoid conflict to kind of keep the peace and like, oh, if it's whatever, then I'm like, okay, ease back and play it safe kind of thing. And that's a lot to work through. I think that there are many implications for knowing about Enneagram styles and attachment styles and working those together into something that works for you and works for your partner and those people around you that you love.
Well, and I think it says also how differently do the two present in attachment, adult attachment disorder. And I think when you're ambivalent, it's like nothing matters, right? Things don't matter. So that's not how Seth was. Things mattered deeply to Seth, sometimes maladaptively or like in a weird way where it's like that's too much, so you shouldn't care that much.
I think you might be somewhat ambivalent at times too, because you were kind of like, do your own thing. It's like they can like me, they can don't like me. I don't care.
That's called autonomy.
No, it's called ambivalence.
It's called autonomy.
If you would like to frame it that way, sure.
I'm a therapist. I'm not a therapist.
But anyway, that's a good question. Let's go on to the next one because it's super long.
No, stop. And I think avoidance, though, is like, I will not talk to you about this. So a good example, because he's asking how they are different, and I think it's important to answer the question. If you're ambivalent, it's like, do whatever. I don't know. I mean, I don't have thoughts on that. I don't know, whatever. But if you're avoidant, you can have really strong thoughts, but you don't necessarily know how to put those strong thoughts into some sort of action. You just go, well, I'm out. I'm going to go hunting for 5 days straight, or I'm going to go, I'm going to just do anything. I'm going to go chop firewood in the backyard for 5 hours. I'm going to go cut. I mean, that's like things Seth actually would do. He would just basically be gone. Like, not like in I'm going to the bar. He would just do a thing and be.
Is it cool that the things that I did are like awesome and manly? Hunting and chopping wood.
Yeah, it's great. Anyway, but thank you for the question, and I hope that we answered it.
Okay, I want you to read the next question because I always read.
I have really been working hard on myself, honestly, ever since finding the podcast. Thank you. You're welcome. I'm constantly trying to fill myself with good, positive things, and then actively trying to live those and pour those into others. My husband and I are at a very good place and are still striving to better ourselves in our marriage. So with that spirit of growth and love in mind, at what point is enough enough? I have a friend who is just one of those high-maintenance friends. Nothing I ever do is enough, and there are double standards as far as what is expected of me versus what she can manage to do. We have never been confrontational. I just try to do what I can, and I try to be there for her whenever possible. I feel like there's been a lot of give from my side of things, and even though I think it's unfair sometimes, I do not let that affect our relationship, and I don't burden her with that. We are both married with kids and have a different view of expectations from friendships. It's hard, and I get that. Yesterday, this friend of mine got jealous of me and one of our mutual friends and exploded on me. She said that she was done trying because she never gets included and she is always making the effort. She ended the text with, at some point, a person has to stop trying and move on. Obviously, the idea of empathy and compassion looming in my brain, I first want to hear why she is so upset, and I want to apologize for anything I did to make her feel this way. However, on the other side, I want to be heard, and I also want to voice how much that hurt my heart to hear that our friendship could be so easily moved on from. Sorry for so much rambling, but I am wondering where the balance is between being a compassionate and loving friend versus being a doormat and becoming resentful. I'm trying to grow and change, of course. I want to approach things with love and empathy. I'm just lost on where to go from here. Thanks. Thank you for bringing up this question. This is from the women's group. The women's group is the best. And I think that it's really important. I think it's a really important question because this relationship with this friendship radiates out into different. I mean, it's like if you can do this well, you can do other relationships well too. But friendships really matter in our marriages, and I don't think people realize that. If you have a friend and your friend's in a marriage and your friend is like tearing you down, that's going to impact your marriage and your family and your kids and your, so friendships are super, super important. Do you have any thoughts just sort of right off the bat with that?
Yeah, it's hard for me to comprehend when other people are reading. I just discovered that's why I probably read all the time. It's like, I don't know what you're saying. You're just reading words.
Great.
So, and this is a comprehension thing. So, let's see. You said what point you guys are growing, and it's awesome. And in what point is enough? I'm not sure if you're talking about like the growth mindset. Enough is never enough. It's always a thing.
No, she's talking about a friendship.
A friend. Okay, sorry.
So she says.
So totally different thing. So okay, yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know how to manage like this drama between friends. I think because I don't have drama between my friends maybe, and all I deal with is drama with clients and stuff. I'm just like,
well, and you've had like the same 5 friends since you were 6.
Yeah.
Okay, then I'll answer the question.
Okay.
So the first thing I want to say is that friendships, just like relationships and marriages and all of that, have seasons, right? So I've had a particular friendship that, like, when I first met this friend was amazing, really great, really strong, hung out all the time. And then as we entered different phases of life, different seasons of our own just individual journeys, the friendship kind of waned or waxed, which is which?
Oh, you mean Alexis?
What are you talking about?
I don't know.
And so the friendship kind of went a little bit, it waxed, let's say. I don't know, waned. I don't know which one it is. It diminished slightly. And I remember at that time being hurt by it and being like, what's going on? And then as we've both gotten older and the phases of our lives changed again, it's like, oh, we can be friends now. Not that we couldn't be friends before. It was just really hard. We had little kids. We had kids in different ages. We lived in different cities. There's just all these little factors. And the first thing I would say is that friendships have phases, just like everything has phases. Everything has phases. So don't be upset by the fact that your friendship is in a phase. And that's what I think your friend is saying. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore, Lisa. Like, she's mad and she's letting you know. But it's just a sign that you're not in alignment right now. That doesn't mean you won't be in alignment later.
Yeah.
You don't need to force that alignment, though, either. I think that's really important. Friendships can wax and wane, and that's a part of the life cycle of humans.
Tell Becky to listen to the podcast.
Okay. But also, there is something to say about trying to force that alignment. It sounds like that's what you're saying. Is like, I really want to fix this. I want to apologize. I don't know what to do. Like, I'm always trying to force alignment. If you're not in alignment, you're not in alignment. That doesn't mean you have to hate that person or wish ill of them. You're just not in alignment, and just kind of step away from it. No big deal, right? Like, I think we make big deals out of things that aren't a big deal.
Sometimes it's easy to get our feelings hurt, right? One of the folks says, this happens so often with women.
Yeah.
Like all the time, my girlfriends and I talk about this a lot. And Jessie Wants Guac says, you are awesome.
You're awesome too!
Guac is awesome. Therefore, Jessie is awesome.
Guac.
And
I want bacon and grits, and Jessie wants guac.
So people get their feelings hurt, and of course, that's normal. But the kind of back and forth, I really don't understand it. I can be empathetic to it. I just don't understand it. You know, so-and-so said this, or she looked at me funny, or this and this, or so-and-so's or whatever. Well, I think that we can choose what friendships we're in, you know. And you know what? We have had friends that we haven't really had arguments and stuff, but maybe their focus was on different things, and we just, you know, kind of drifted apart for some of them for like 2 or 3 or 4 years, you know, and then we, you know, text each other or whatever, hey, what's up, what's going on, you know, and then if that comes back together, I can think of a handful of folks that have come in and out, and it's been good. At least with the dudes, there hasn't been any drama. No, in fact, there was some drama one time with one of your friends and the friend's husband, and him and I like went to Starbucks and talked for like 2 hours about it and tried to work it out, you know, but that was mostly between you guys. So
well, and I think again I go back to that was when I didn't realize that things don't need to be a problem.
Right.
I don't need Kyle Cease talks about this. He uses this example of like in looking at something and seeing it as a problem, right? So it's like I'm standing here, I'm just standing here, whatever, and then a dark cloud rolls in, and I say to myself, oh my gosh, look at that dark cloud. And then I grab it and I just hold on to it and I say, everybody, look at the dark cloud. Ah, right. And you're going to feel weird. But so I stand here holding on to this thing that I have now said is a problem, and I'm not letting it go. I'm actually not releasing the problem that I had. I can acknowledge, oh, that's a dark cloud. Oh, there it goes, right? I could do that. But instead, in our early years of marriage and friendship and relationships, I chose to hold on to every single dark cloud, point at it all day long, and then tell other people they needed to fix this dark cloud that I freaking wouldn't let go of.
Wasn't fun.
It wasn't. It was very unpleasant, but guess what it was? It was something. It was excitement. Oh. So I don't know. People are writing stuff.
Okay, let's see. Mama in the Wild says, I just think sometimes people take the fact that you don't have space for them super personally, like it's an active choice, and sometimes it's not. Yeah, you know, I would get my feelings hurt if, you know, my friend was like, okay, peace out. I would immediately go, okay, what did I do? You know, well, am I not cool enough? Am I not, you know, growth mindset enough, or whatever kind of thing, you know? But yeah.
And I don't know. I just think friendships evolve, relationships evolve. We need to have that evolution. It's part of who we are as people. But yeah, I agree. I think this does happen with women's relationships more too. Also because we're taught to do it. TV tells us we're supposed to be that way. Drama. Drama television teaches us that. What are you reading there?
Okay, one more question. I find it really amazing.
Wait, I was going to edit this one.
All right, we'll edit it on the fly.
Okay, so this person is talking about family of origin and says she grew up in a home where her knee-jerk reaction was to assume the worst, that everything was going on because she was afraid. She had an abusive father, I think. Her husband was raised in a home where they had to act perfect and pretend that everything was really perfect. So she had an instance where her child was crying and crying and crying, and she couldn't figure out what the problem was. So the wife asked the child, is something happening that's not okay, right? So the wife implied, is your dad hurting you? right? Because the wife had been hurt by her dad.
She projected.
But it was a genuine concern. It was, this is like, you're crying inconsolably. You don't normally do this. Can I help you? Is something happening, right? And so she asked a question that the husband internalized as, you think I'm hurting our daughter, right? And so now she's saying, what is the advice? Because now it feels like she has assaulted her husband, like she's insulted and done something to his character to say, you are so bad, whatever. So I kind of wanted to reword it so it didn't give it away or anything, but
yeah, so that makes a lot of sense. And like I said, yeah, she's projecting, and you're like, well, yeah, for good reason. So just because we're projecting doesn't mean that it's not valid or something. It's something that we are deeply holding on to, whether it happened in our past as a child or whatever. So yeah, that it would be like, okay, I had a drunk mom and dad, not really, but if I did, and they drove around drunk all the time and had DUIs, and I grew up with that, and you went to the store and the kid got scared from something, maybe a car pulled out or something, and I immediately went, are you driving drunk? And I heard this hearsay from the kid, what have you been drinking? Are you driving drunk? So I'm projecting my past childhood fears onto you. I'm creating something that literally wasn't even there.
Yeah.
Right? At least in the present. So oftentimes we do that. We project our past fears, we project our past stuff that hasn't been resolved, that hasn't been worked through, and then we put it on our partner, right? And I can absolutely feel or understand how that husband would feel. He'd be like, what? You think I'm even capable of that? Yeah. What else do you think? Oh my gosh, what's going on? It's that fear-shame dynamic, It's like, that's the most shameful thing you could ever say. I would hurt my own daughter. I mean, people do that, of course, which is despicable, but in this case, it doesn't sound like that's going on, thank God. So, what do you need to do to move through all that stuff, right?
Well, and I would say that first I want to address this idea that when people do this, so I've done this to Seth. I did this to you when our kids were really little, and I basically made it a threat. I said, if you ever hurt our children, like, I will kill you, basically, is what I did. I was in a really bad place.
When was that?
It was a long time ago, when our kids were little, but I was just like, I'm just going to set the line right now that if you ever...
What were you even triggered from? I never hurt the kids.
Just anxiety. No, I know. I was triggered from a gigantic fear and anxiety.
Right.
Our kids were little, and I was like, this is terrifying. And I'm
kind of like coming from a point like I would do anything to protect these kids, which is totally instinctual and natural.
Yeah, and so what I did, though, was I projected. So imagine it like this. Like, you and I are like piggy banks. We have a place where we can pull out our thoughts, right? Like, we can have a hole in our chest and we go, here's what I'm thinking and I'm afraid of and whatever. So when I did that to you, and when this wife did this with her husband, or with her daughter rather, you're pulling out of yourself what you're afraid of, right? So instead of hearing me say, if you ever hurt our children, you're out. What I was really, you should have seen the sign that said, I am terrified our children will get hurt. I don't know what to do.
Well, it's not that I should have seen it, because then you're placing...
No. I'm saying, instead of me saying those words, I should have pulled out that statement, that piece of paper that said, I am terrified. That's all I needed to have said. But instead I went, I got to point this at something. I need to make sure that someone knows it's an action, and I blamed you, right? There was no reason to blame you.
You blamed for things that didn't even happen.
Yes, only because...
a lot of couples do that.
I'm sure everybody does it, because you're terrified. So imagine if we took this same scenario. My kid is crying inconsolably. I can't do anything. I don't know what's going on. And the first piece of paper I pull out says, what do I do? The second one is, I'm scared. The third one is, this is scary. Like, I have anxiety now. Then the fourth one is, I need help. But instead, she goes, well, something bad. I mean, all I know is that maybe something bad is happening. So I'm going to, and she didn't even project this at her husband. I think she asked her daughter, right? And it's the husband's interpretation of what that asking meant. Which
you really have to be careful, around, because then guess what? Guess what you're doing family of origin wise? You're projecting that, and your daughter is going to pick up that and going to think, Dad might hurt me. Dad might hurt me. Mom's asking why. Has he done this? So you absolutely have to be completely aware of completely aware of that and really handle that, because that is going to not be good. In fact, I get really annoyed when you do stuff like that, like slow down, or like you ask the kids, are they okay, when nothing is happening. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes like, oh, are you hurt? I'm like, they didn't do anything. You know what I'm saying? And
I don't know
like,
that I ask the kids that they're hurt.
Well, I mean,
randomly.
not like randomly. So, hold on. Okay, I want to read this. Any advice for a buddy of mine, newly engaged couple who is working through how to communicate time management and spending time together. She is feeling neglected. He wants to make a positive change. Yeah, I would say get the clearing structure, and they need to sit down and do that. And if she's feeling neglected, it could be real threat or perceived threat, right? A perceived threat would be like, and they're engaged, so they're like, oh my goodness, he's not spending every waking hour with me, and then kind of like that borderline's needy. Or is it a real threat? Is this dude playing Xbox 24/7 and be like, oh, I don't know, you do the engagement, and then it's like, okay, don't be a douche, kind of like
Please
step
stop
it up.
using that word. It's so
I'm
gross.
not going to not be real anymore. I was thinking about this on the
I
treadmill.
don't like that word. I say it sometimes, but only if I'm quoting Nacho Libre.
Don't be a douche.
He's a real douche.
Anyway, the clearing structure on that, and then just really the knowledge around real threat versus perceived threat, which we talk with Dr. Les and Leslie Parrott in season 1.
It's perceived threat and perceived neglect.
Oh,
Season
right.
1 we talk about it. But I do want to say, for the fiancé, the girl side of it, I was addicted to feeling like I was neglected. So I don't know how you bring that up. Maybe you talk to Becky's best friend and you say, hey, Becky, seems like you're feeling neglected all the time no matter what people do. So there's a conversation to be had there, but you better not...
Addiction, neglect.
Wait, will you please put that back on? It sounds terrible when it's off. So, but I think it's that's a really an important thing to think about. I think people find worth and value by always having a problem. If I have a problem, you focused on me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't do it. I'm too weak. Focus on me.
Right.
Everybody look at me. And when someone's always feeling neglected, that's a thing to consider.
That is. He's in ministry and feeling pressure from leadership to do more with the church. Well,
Get her in ministry.
Well,
what's
no,
she doing?
I think of it differently. I hope that the ministry or whatever is like attuning to like, okay, what's going on, or they're just gonna make him be a workhorse kind of thing. I don't know.
We don't know any of it, but I would say, get yourself off your mind. This is what I would say to his fiance. You've got to get yourself off your mind. Mm-hmm. No thinking about what I am not getting, what I don't want, what blah, blah, blah is going to get you to a place of empowerment and strength and bringing value. You have to bring value to find the value in things. And when all we do is think about how we're wrong and we're cheated, we're this, we're that, life is hard for us, I'm feeling neglected, bring a solution that is, you know what I mean? Like, bring a solution. Don't bring the I can't tie my shoes. Start tying your shoes.
That's right. Okay.
So mad.
We're 30 minutes. Whew. Boy, we can talk. Okay. We love you guys. July 25th is the Seattle AOM meetup.
4 days after my birthday.
Yes, 4 days after your birthday. And July 25th, go to Eventbrite. We're posting it all over Facebook. We're putting it on Instagram to get your tickets. There literally are limited spots because we can't take all of our listeners. Yes, and the event is free, so go to Eventbrite to sign up for that. It will totally be awesome. And also, please remember to rate and review the show. We love to read them on the podcast. It helps other listeners find our show and is helpful. So, thank you guys. Happy Tuesday. Anything else?
I'm going to say this one thing here. I'm going to say this. If you have the inclination right now and your soul is stirring to rate the podcast and leave a review that we read on the show, pause the show and review it right this very moment. I want to see 21 more reviews today.
Holy, that's a lot.
I have high hopes. High expectations. No, I can't say that.
Okay, we can't say. Okay.
But yes, so please rate and review the podcast. It is extremely helpful, and we love it. It feels great.
All right. Thank you guys, and have an awesome Tuesday. Bye.
Bye. An awesome possum.
Post show. Okay. Thanks, guys, for sticking in there and being with us. I don't know why I was still stalking the microphone. Happy Taco Tuesday. Yes. Ooh, what am I going to make for supper tonight? I don't know.
Gotta go to the taco bus. What is the one called with the skeletons on it?
All right. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye.
Man, I always miss your live.
Oh,
7 a.m.
Come on.
Pacific Standard Time.
Dang.